Hi again. We are seeing now the video game engine Unity 4, in which we are going to import the character that we have done in previous tutorials. In Unity, there's a thing that facilitates the attachment of the texture file to the 3D character. If you drag first the texture file to the Assets window, and then you drag the FBX file of the 3D character to the Assets window, the FBX file will load the texture file. But if you put first the FBX file, and then the texture, the character won't load the texture. We can see that our character has the texture attached. That's because the FBX has loaded the texture in the assets. Let's see what would have happened if we put first the FBX file. We remove the files. If we drag first the FBX file, the character tries to load a texture, but how it cannot load any texture, it remains gray, without texture. And if you then drag the texture file to Assets, the character remains gray, because it is no longer trying to load the texture. If it happens, you can drag the 3D character to the scene, we change its position. If you cannot find the 3D character, rolling the middle mouse button, for zoom in or zoom out, you can press the F key for focus, and the view will move to the character. If you select the main camera, here, and press F, the view will move to the position of the camera. We will focus the character now. Well, we open the list of the character, and we can see the armature and the cubes that we used to create it. We can select one of the cubes, for example this arm, and we can see that there's no texture here. So, we can drag the texture to that little window. That's what you can do if the FBX hasn't loaded the texture. If we had dragged the texture first in the Assets, and then the FBX file, this step wouldn't be necessary. Anyway, using any of these ways, you have to do this next step. The character seems to be perfectly texture, but really it is a little dark. If you do click in this colored bar, you can see here that the color is not totally white. If you do it totally white, the character will have a perfect texture color. If you move it to black, the character will become darker. So, you have to move it to white. That happened because in Blender, the material color had an 80% of diffuse intensity. We can change it in Blender, or here, in Unity. No problem with that. Perfect. We have the character textured and with a totally white. You don't need to change the other cubes, because they use the same texture material. Let's create now the animations that we did in the previous video tutorial, to run them in Unity. Select the FBX file of the character. You can see 3 buttons, Model, Rig and Animations. We have exported 2 animation files with the character. We can use the default take 1. The default take animation goes from 0 seconds to a little more than 5 seconds. Select the name of the animation, and type idle. The idle animation starts in frame 1, and ends in frame 59. The range has changed. We select the loop pose, because this is a loop animation. If we press play button, we can see the idle animation running. Cool. We moved next animation. We can select this one, and change it to default take file. We rename it by typing walk. You can drag the bar to set the start and end frames of the walk animation, or by typing them, 60 and 96. We activate the loop pose. We can see the preview. If we want more animation, we can click in plus button here. Type attack. It starts in frame 97 and ends in frame 123. Loop pose, and preview. We click on plus button for the last animation. Die. Starts in 123. Ends in 140. This animation doesn't need loop pose. Cool. If we had selected loop pose, it would do a weird animation. So, deselect loop pose in die animation. Now, you can go to the bottom, and press apply, or if you change to another menu, it tells you that you haven't applied the animations, but then click on apply button. These animations are shown correctly in the preview window, but in the game, they don't run. You have to change the animation type to legacy, and then apply. Now, the animations will run in the game, but not in the preview window. Well, we have the character in a Unity scene, and with the animations running. If you add to the character a JavaScript, or C#, or BooScript, you can control the character and all their animations in the video game. If now we want to create an Unity package of the character, to add it in any scene of any game in the Unity video game engine, if you do click over the character, you can see the animations that we have created now. Well, if you want an Unity package of the character, you must go to Assets, and then, Export Package. You will create a package with the material, the texture image file and the FBX file with the animations for Unity. We type a name for the package. Perfect. We have a little package with all the information. You can insert it in any scene of any Unity game. Cool. We have finished. We started the video tutorials creating the character from the scratch, and then we create the texturing, rigging and the animations, and finally we have imported it in Unity Engine, and we have created a package. I hope you enjoyed the video tutorials. See you in next tutorials. Bye.